Okay, this is gonna be a long one, and I'm gonna have to think how do it as we go, because this guy is gonna be very tall. But first off, let's start with the feet. So let's do Mixmaster first. Let's move these side swipe parts out of the way. So yeah, so per normal Mixmaster, well, this is not a normal Mixmaster, but this faux front will be your toes. So let's fold that out, unpeg this. Oops, sorry, before you unpeg that, let's unhook the arms just so we don't stress the plastic. There you go. And then you can unpeg this, straighten that out, unpeg the feet, fold the ankle pivot, and then we extend this part, fold that back in. Do the same for the other side. Extend this part, fold that back in, recompress, not compress but repeg this part, and then we put it back in. Now you fold that foot down, or not foot, these hands down, you peg that in. So I know reviewer complained that this one keeps unhooking. I don't know, I think it's MGO who did that, but this one is stable now. It won't unpeg now, so that's one good thing. Now you can repeg this if you wanted to, but if you want to use the ankle pivot of the Devastator mode, you have to remove it, because that's the part that actually gives you the ankle pivot. See, even if I do that, this thing doesn't unpeg, so that's good. So that's your and then you do the heel spur. For some reason my heel spur doesn't extend all the way in, all the way out. So I don't know if it's an assembly issue or what, but once you lay it flat, it's gonna be okay. So that's your 1 foot of Devastator. Let me move this out of the way so we have space. Now let's do the leader Scrapper, who unfortunately turns into the foot. So for that, let's just do unpeg these arms first, unpeg this, that can stay. You rotate this up so that the Decepticon symbol is turned upside down. You fold that out, and then you unfold this, and then you're supposed to hinge that up and peg that into the slot there for stability. And then you turn these hands around, and then you repeg there. So there's a peg there and the hole there, so just peg it. It's not a strong peg, but it does hold. And then you just swivel this, so there is a locking mechanism right there, so that it won't rotate easily. There you go. That is your right leg of Devastator. Let's give him a slight ankle tilt. There you go. So that's slight. Those are the legs. Now let's do the torso. First off, long haul. Let's untransform him. So unpeg the back, unpeg the front. So basically half transform him to robot mode is what we're gonna do. There you go. Now first stretch that out, transform this. You don't need to flip the head in. Rotate the these parts down, rotate this part down. Sorry, that's out of frame. And then you flip this one out. There you go, and then you just peg that back to the back. Then you're supposed to actually hinge this upwards, and then you're supposed to fold the hands in. There's that tab that will go to that gap here. So that's your torso. Do we put it together? Before we put it together, just put hook on first. So hook, what do? You unclip the hands, you're then supposed to unhinge this part. So there was issues on tightness and then breakages of that peg. Here the peg is not as tight anymore, so that's good. I don't know if that's mold degradation or anything, but it's better now. So fold that down. Now you're supposed to clip that there. Now this clip is really tight. I don't know if it's just mine or is it a normal thing, but that's really tight. And then we have this black peg which you just rotate down, and you have this purple peg that you just fold down. The one hand you leave up, the other hand you fold in. And then let's do the head later on. Now what you're supposed to do is, so see, there's that slot and that slot and that peg and that peg. So you're supposed to peg those pegs into those holes. So as you can see, there's a hole there and there. And you're supposed to peg this very thin plastic piece onto that slot. Now what I found was, I think because of the paint here and the hook part there, they just peg in very tight, and trying to remove them is a pain. If they made it like a straight peg as opposed to like that slightly hooked peg that they had, would have been a lot easier to pull out. But since, you know, there's that, I found that trying to remove it, I actually cracked the plastic there. So I am gonna peg these things there, but for those slits there, I'm just gonna lightly push it out. Up to you if you want to do it on your figure. It doesn't add to the stability from what I've seen, so I don't even know why it's that tight. But yeah, just a complaint for a figure that I've only had for a couple of days. It's quite sad that they already have the cracking. So I'm just gonna lightly put that there. Your mileage might vary. This might be a issue specific to my copy, but just be careful with yours. Okay, let's just lightly press it there, and there's your torso. So let's combine the legs first, and then we'll tilt the camera up a little bit. So okay, so for the legs, it's quite similar how they work. There's those slots there and that peg there. So let's do Mixmaster. Mixmaster will have that clipping point there and that peg there, and then these two will just rest onto those slots there. So the best way to do it is just go straight on. So once that's situated, you just have to press it in. There you go. There you go. So that's gonna hold. Same with the other side. Best to just straighten that in. This one's easier because there's nothing covering it. So this will go easier. So yeah, that's the legs of Devastator. So let's just pan the camera up a little bit. How we're gonna do this? Let me think about it. 1 second. Okay, there you go. So I ended up stacking boxes. Fortunately, I couldn't get my lighting set up here, but what can you do? So let's do the arms. First off, Scavenger here. First thing you do is these two are fairly similar, the Scavenger and Bone Crusher, and you'll see what I mean. So you just unpeg the threads, fold this piece down so it is pegged there securely. So just, and then make sure that thing is facing forward. You peg this back in. Oh, let's just leave it out. So what you do is, on this side of Devi, you have this, right? So basically, that black peg will go into that purple slot there, and then you have this, no, that slot will go there, but you have the secondary slot, oops, sorry, down there, that will actually slot in to long holes, tiny arm there. So let's see if we can do that here. So let me just extend that, peg this crotch piece in, go. Can you still see? It's too dark. Yes, it's too dark. See if I can, no way, I can turn off any light. Okay, so that peg will go into that slot, so we just slot that in here. So the reason it's bouncing around or it's not aligned is because I haven't pegged that shoulder piece, as you know, but better not peg it than break it, right? So that's that. We do the other side, so same thing, unpeg the arms or the threads, fold this down, make sure it faces forward. Oh, that's forward. And then same thing on this side of Devi, you have that, and then you do the same deal, crotch piece in there, this slot goes into the puny arm. Hard to do on camera. Peg that in. Okay, so almost there. Now for the chest piece, I will do it MGO style. So MGO did give some nice tips on how to peg this in. So basically what he does is he does the half piece first, just so you know where things are pegging in. But basically, just to give you an idea, there's these two tabs there that will go into those slots. There's this peg, I'll go to that hole. These two will just rest in between there, and that peg is supposed to actually go in there, but I found that when you put that there, it's going to be hard to put in. So similar to that, I'm just going to rest it on top of there so that I don't break it. I don't think it adds too much into the stability anyway. I find it's plenty stable without that. Okay, make sure that's all the way there. My back. Let's move it a little bit forward. It's not normally this hard, it's just having it on camera is the hard part. So let's peg that there. There you go. And then peg this there. There you go. And then you rest it there. There you go. Oh, my back. It's not doing me any favors. So do on this other side is just those two that will go there, and this hole will go there. So we just peg that in. And there you go. Whew, my back. My back. Okay, now these arms, which we do have in arm mode because of what we did with long haul, we just use those same pegs that I used on long haul's arms to peg it on those slots. So let's do that. Other side, that's the peg hole. And then epic head reveal, and this is an epic head, really G1. Oop, I forgot, we're supposed to shift this to the left. So that's why it's not going in. And then you just epic head reveal. There you go. And then these two chunks of weapon, take that in. And then have him hold it. And there you have Devastator in his full glory. So let me just go handheld mode for a bit so you can see how he looks. Okay, so I thought I'd go handheld mode so it'll give you a better look at this guy. I mean, the lights are not positioned well. I don't have like a studio setup or anything that like that. It's just a small ring light there, so pardon me. But yeah, I mean, Devastator in all his glory. He's not as overly detailed as a lot of your third-party Devastators, which I think is good because you're going for a more G1 look. You want to have simpler details, and this guy really pulls that off. I mean, for the most part, he is, you know, your G1 Devastator. So let me just put that in so I can put this thing down so I can point out some details. So first off, that head is, let me go closer. That head is your G1 head. There's no mistaking there. And there's like two head styles for this guy, one with the visor and one without. I'm glad they went with the visor look. I just feel it looks cooler than the no visor. I know that Takara has that option of flip down glasses, which means you can go with both looks. With the Hasbro version, I'm glad they chose this one if they couldn't do both. That chest shield looks really nice as well. The hands are a little bit out of proportion. This hand is okay. That hand is a bit thin. Given that these are like the robot hands, I wish they would flip up so to fill in that, but you know, what can you do? The legs are really nice except for the Mixmaster toes. You saw the hand fell off, or not the hand, the gun fell off, but that's par for the course for this figure. He doesn't hold his gun well, and it will hold, but it's, you know, it's a shaky connection. There is a peg here, right? I wish they made it so there's like a peg hole there so that when you peg it in, it actually holds and not uses the friction on the heads. What can you do? I did watch Mgo's review about this arm being, that fell off. You know, this arm always unclipping. Mine doesn't have that problem. It's stable. I mean, I'm pressing on it and it won't unclip, so that's good. In terms of articulation, it does have the swivel neck, it does have swivel arms, it does have the elbows and the hinge there. Elbow is a bit hindered here, it doesn't go all the way to 90. That's okay. Do have the wrist swivel, do have joint for this. I wish we had individual fingers, or even individual, oops, sorry, or even individual pointing finger. but that's okay. You do have the long haul waist joint. You do have the thigh, which is really tight. I'm not gonna try and open that out on camera. You can lift those flaps to push it forward a bit more. You can also use the long haul knees as well. You have that knee joint, which only goes to that far, but that's okay. And as you've seen, you do have the ankle tilt on both sides. So yeah, a little bit more on Mixmaster than on Scrapper, but enough for a Titan. Whew. Okay, some size comparisons. Okay, I got to go zoom all the way out for this one. But first, size comparisons. Here he is with the Jinbao Gravity Builder. Not Jinbao, sorry. The NBK KO Gravity Builder. It's a crappy Devastator. But, you know, just to give you an idea, he's quite a bit bigger. And as I've said, this guy has a lot of details. While this one is just plain G1. I prefer the plain G1 over this. But yeah. Lot better. And here he is with Combiner Wars Victorion. That's the official configuration, I believe. So yeah, Victorion is your standard Combiner Wars combiner height. So yeah, he towers over your regular combiners. Here he is with the two Autobot heavy hitters. You have Commander class Jetfire and Commander class Mr. Magnificent Skylynx. Here he is with Studio Series Grimlock. I think that's a perfect size for these two. Let me just... Here he is with Titan class Omega Supreme. Again, I think this is a perfect scale between these two. Another fun comparison. Here he is with Studio Series Movie Devastator. Oh, these two look good on the shelf side by side. And last but certainly not least, here he is with your Voyager class Megatron and Starscream, and they do look good together, if I may say so myself. Okay, so final thoughts. Let's go handheld mode again for this guy. I think for my money, this one is the best Devastator we've gotten by far. I know we've gotten a lot of third-party ones, but in terms of scale with your chug figures, in terms of accuracy to the G1, I think this one nails it better than most of them. I know there's this third-party Legend scale one that looks nice. I think it's Magic Square. That may look more G1 than this one, but that's going to be like Legend scale, so maybe not in scale with your other chug figures. If there's anything that's better than this, I'd say it's the Takara version, just because of how well it pulls off a lot of the articulation and all that on the individual robot modes. But I myself will be displaying this in full Devastator mode anyway, so accuracy of the individual robot modes don't matter as much. Not that I'm saying that these guys are not good in the individual robot modes. They have their sacrifices, but they do look good as well, given they're pulling off this kind of combination as well as the vehicle modes. So yeah, that's gonna be it for a review. I know this review is like 5 years late, but forgive me, just got this figure and I'm actually happy that I did, even if it's like 6 years late. So yeah, again, this has been Grimtrigger. This has been the awesome Combiner Wars Devastator. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.